Oh. I had cramp. My leg. My God. Oh. No, I'm good. I don't need an ambulance or anything. Oh. It's not even cramp in my leg, it's old cramp. Oh. Mama. Right. Bear with me a couple of minutes and then we'll start the message. When does the new Christmas gift? Luminaria. Celebrate the holidays. What I was looking for. Got Mars Eckhart here. Who knows? Don't. Oh! Slurpy Slurpy. If you would like to ask a question during the live stream, just drop question in brackets. Yes, so there's there's a lot more coming in 2020. There's a lot more. Not some in-gamey stuff. Some not in-gamey stuff. Not a huge amount more. There's a good amount more. There's some more stuff. There's some things. There's some stuff. That's what we're going to talk about today. Along with whatever anyone else wants to talk about. It's new origin ship question mark? Is a new straightest flyable ship question mark? Maybe. It could be. Confirmed new refinery ship. Oh man. That is not true. Have you seen the Xenothreat stuff? So I've seen some bits on Xenothreat. I'll say, obviously, there's been loads of leaks over about Xenothreat over the last year and a half. So we'll talk a bit about the Xenothreat stuff and dynamic missions, dynamic events, and stuff that's coming almost certainly this week. Let me just tweet I'm streaming, and then we'll go. I be live on the streams. Talking about Successor and what not. I don't know what not is. But let's do that. Let's close that. Let's close Cyberpunk fucking GOG, whatever else was open. I've completed my first run through of Cyberpunk. Quite happy with that. Looking at a lot of people's anger, which has slowly grown, I think my comments were pretty tame. On the whole situation, I think they were reasonable. What I said. good game. For me, my build. Right. Bam. Hey, how is it hanging? How is everyone doing? You doing good? Doing bad? Merry Christmas. Happy New Christmas. A merry lockdown for some. The Christmas is in a really weird place in the UK. A lot of people not being able to move around anymore. Tier 4 implemented the lockdown, a new level of lockdown, meaning you can't really celebrate Christmas or leave the country. So some weird things happening in the UK, unfortunately. But obviously, my thoughts on the whole situation are mixed. However, I am very much one to say, even if I don't agree fully with the rules, I will still follow them, and then voice my dissent in the appropriate democratic legal manner. But me and my family are going to be doing Christmas dinner. They're coming here. I'm cooking for everyone. That'll be nice. I mean, so I think I was okay, and this is going to sound really arse. I'm a prick, and I am. Let's not beat around the bush. I was sort of like, I wouldn't have minded a quiet Christmas, like if I couldn't have seen more of my family. If it was just me and my parents, I would have still been fine with that. I was like, oh, I'm so tired at the moment. That's all it is. And Christmas is a bit stressful for me because I'm working and I'm cooking, and sort of hosting. So I love my family, love Christmas. I hope everyone is. I'm gonna have a good Christmas, and it's not going to going too cray-cray. I do think there is a worry for people that are alone or feel isolated at Christmas. So make sure you reach out if you are, like, genuinely. Feel free to poke me. I'll try and respond, but reach out to other people if you think they're more struggling, and reach out to people if you're struggling. Just do it. As I said, question in brackets if you'd like to ask a question during the stream. But other than that, I'm doing pretty well. I was really pretty ill over the last week or so. It's only in the last 36-ish hours that I felt human again, or more human, or more potato, or egg, whatever I am. So yeah, I had everything eating ran through me. Let's say that, okay? And I was shivering. I couldn't process information properly. I was the illest I have ever knowingly I can ever remember being. It was pretty rough, and it's like when I was ill, I put a street up just going, "Oh yeah, I'm a bit ill at the moment, guys. Don't worry about it." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to go to hospital. I feel so ill." But I've probably got the Rona, but I don't think I did. I think I had a gastro flu or something, some sort of virus. Could have been Rona and just affected me in a different way, but just because Rona's around doesn't mean that all other illnesses have stopped. And I've also come to a bit of a realization that I'm constantly tired. For people that don't know, I suffer quite badly from I'm bipolar, and I have quite aggressive anxiety, which is relatively uncontrollable. It's manageable, but I can't control when I'm going to have this anxiety. And basically, it boils down to me overly thinking things, being very tired about stuff, and worrying constantly. I get very, very tired. But I've sort of realised that any of my worries to do with my health, for the most part, are just me being tired from anxiety, being anxious, and pains from being stressed. So being ill has recently got me to a new Zen level of, oh fuck it. It's like, it's gonna be okay. It'll probably be alright, and if it's not, well, meh. Not only so much we can do about it, eh? So, that's my Merry Christmas homespun wisdom for you. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope you are able to spend it with your families if you wish to do that. So, what more is to come? So, there is a few things that are coming by the end of this year. It seems, I cannot 100% promise, we've got dynamic events in 3.12. So we know that's a listed feature. We know that Cloud Imperium have been working on that. I heard a little while ago, Cloud Imperium, some of my sources there were like, there's some cool stuff happening after 3.12's launch in December. Cool, thank you. It's like, is this Xenothreat stuff? You're like, maybe, I don't know, I can't tell you. This like dance off into the distance, and that's from 3 different people I've heard that. So we know that Cloud Imperium have been working on some stuff for exclusive dynamic events. You might have heard lots of rumours about Xenothreat stuff. The assault on Stanton stuff had a load of the Xenothreat audio of, attention, people of Stanton, there has been a grave injustice. From pirates, basically it's a pirate org that's going to jump in and cause havoc, and you know, have big fleet battles, Idrises and stuff spawn, and there's big raids and stuff to loads of missions and big raids for the whole server to get involved in, and it is the idea. So it really will have these major patches more playable in the sense that it looks like these are going to be timed events in a lot of places just for a patch cycle. So you'd have the Xenothreat stuff maybe only happening in 3.12 and then some evolutions of it in the future. But it will give you reasons to actually play a patch a lot more, because you'll be like, well, I actually want to get involved in this evolving gameplay. And obviously it's nothing it's not final gameplay. It's not something that you should consider this is going to be what Star Citizen's like when it's launched. Star Citizen should be a magnitude or so better than now. But it is going to be a big indicator of what's to come and actually catapult it into much more of a fun, I'd say MMO, but it's with 50 people on a server, it's not really MMO. It is a big, cool server events and things that we're expecting. And there could be a lot of different ones, but they're starting with 3.12. They're starting, it appears to me, probably this week is what I'm expecting them to go sort of like live those dynamic events. I'd expect them this week. I'd put money on it. So really looking forward to that. And we know there's been some things like with the INS Jericho station discovered in the sticks. We're like, oh, what's this station? Maybe this is for dynamic events and things like that. So there's a lot of cool little things like that. And expect Cloud Imperium to put on the fly throughout 3.12 cycle maybe some more bits. Xenothreat, that's what I'm expecting. Still this side of 2020, which, yeah, I think is going to be really cool. And that's not a confirmation that it's definitely happening, but it's a very high probability. As I said, I put money on it. So other stuff that's happening. Well, we talked about a leaked potential new ship that Star Citizen Leaks had talked about that they thought was going to be flyable in 3.12. It still is possible that it could be an end-of-year release. It's possible as well that it might be a ship that's coming much later, and it might be possible it was a ship that was actually scrapped. So bear that in mind, but all of those are possibilities. But there's still a chance that you could see it later on, just before the end of the year, within the next few days, I suppose, would be likelihood, because Cloud Imperium should be going on. Most of their studio will be on holidays from the 23rd onwards, 23rd, 24th onwards, for a while, and probably until after New Year. There's still going to be a skeleton crew there, I've been assured. It is which ship? I've done a video on it. I'm not sure if I want to throw it in people's faces overly. Some of the spoilers and stuff. Close your ears now if you don't want to hear what ship it is. The 400i is what we were talking about previously. And that's the new Origin ship. So we saw some leaks and stuff and photos on it. And Star Citizen Leaks seemed to think it was potentially going to be a straight to flyable ship in 3.12. Or in the 3.12 cycle, they later said. So other things that could and probably will be happening the rest of December. Okay. Roadmap updates. So we're getting the new roadmaps. That's the plan. That is incredibly important. That will give us an indicator of what's highly likely to be in Q1 2021, so the 3.13 patch, and should hopefully give us a bit more of what's happening through the rest of 2021 with the Q2, Q3, and Q4 patches. And hopefully at the same time they'll be updating the Squadron 42 roadmaps. That's what the expectation is, but I suppose, again, we're waiting for confirmation of that by actually getting it in our hands. It is not going to be a... it's not going to be an exhaustive roadmap. They are only giving us the upstream teams, not the downstream teams. So there's some updates to be made to those roadmaps later. And there's still going to be bits in patches that are sort of sprung on us and a bit of surprisey. And there's still going to be stuff that gets reprioritized and moved and gets delayed. So sort of bear that in mind. They should be a lot more accurate and give us a lot more detail, though. Or at least a lot more detail and timings and stuff like that. So we can see what's actually being worked on in a lot more detail. Other stuff. So, got the new roadmaps as well. Bam. Looking forward to that. That's really important to me. Expect some development updates from Cloud Imperium. So, a couple of things that typically we get are the accounts. So, they typically publish their accounts for what would be 2019's accounts. So, that gives us a load of insight into the financial health of Cloud Imperium. Although... this year has been ridiculous for funding for them. Like, they've broken record on record. It's like twice the amount of some previous years by some margin as well with a lot of them. And it's, yeah, an absolutely ridiculous crowdfunding year for Cloud Imperium this year. I don't see how they could possibly match it next year, but I can. But the numbers would be higher. I can see how they could match it. Interesting to see how Cyberpunk has affected the market. Like, has that made people go, I want games that are taking a lot longer to develop so that I get what I want, and I like the fact that Star Citizen are showing what they've got? Or are people going to have been burnt slightly by long development cycles and be like, whatever it is, it's always overhyped, it can never live up to the hype? You see what I mean? Do you think that these... Do you think that the Standard Talon edition lacks firepower a little? It's a light fighter. It's got relatively good weapon mounts. I mean, maybe? I don't know. I haven't tested it against it. I haven't tested it enough. Have you got to fight the Idris yet? Yes. Me and Sin have got a load of Idris fighting footage. She sent me all of her Idris footage earlier today. I was like, send me the Idris footage and I'll talk over it with mine. But what I'm going to think of doing, actually, is having Zin talk about... Because we joined Synchronizers in a Station Assault event. And then took on an Idris as part of that. And we got lots of beauty shots of the fight and the Idris. And... oh my god. Yeah, so... During this event, yeah, I'm in an M50. So I'm a little tiny ship. And I'm not fighting, I'm literally just recording. So all these other Synchronizers guys have got high criminal ratings because they're fighting a station and they're trying to build up the criminal rating to get the Idris to appear. I'm an Idris Hammerhead following this Hammerhead. And I lose control for a second when one of my engines overheats. And I go a little bit towards it. I'm like, I might hit that. And I'm going to die. Oh, well, sort of thing. And I clip it with one of my rings, spin, and survive. I go, oh, thank God. On comms, I hear... What happened? And I look around and there's just this exploded Hammerhead. I'm like, oh, I think that was me. And I didn't know what to say, and I was giggling to Sin, going, oh my God, Sin, I think I've just taken out Hammerhead. And she, on the comms, it's like, oh, we just lost Hammerhead, Della. It's I think I got rammed. It's like, oh my God, I killed them. I don't know, I'm just a cameraman. I'm not even dead as well. And there's the other thing, so I felt so guilty. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. It's like, and later on I did. Later on, when the op was ended, I was like, I'm so sorry. I think I might have clipped you. Yeah, that was... I was a little upsetting, I think, for them. They seemed good-humoured about it. Any idea when live is going to be updated with the PT patch? Okay. Will you lose jobs from the refinery? Oh, good point, Crowman. I don't know. When a patch is deployed, do they... Because, okay, they wipe databases quite often, but the long-term persistence keeps everything. Are refinery jobs part of long-term persistence? I wouldn't expect they would be. I don't know. You hit one of our hamheads. I'm so sorry. I just clicked it very slightly. Oh, I'm so sorry. I love Spiffing Brit. I'm a good fan of Spiffing Brit. Ooh. But I don't drink Yorkshire tea. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Phoenix escort carrier. Are you talking about the Pegasus? The Phoenix isn't well, I mean, it's got a ship it can carry, but it's a luxury constellation, the Phoenix. Why are you so awesome? I love to think that everyone thinks that, but I know that only a dedicated fan base of eggs and potatoes and BoredGamers do. I appreciate the love. Thank you very much. I was drinking some black tea. Nice. Star Citizen's like Ultima Online. It was a long time ago that I played Ultima. I played Ultima Online when it first came out. We were buying a physical copy. So they fixed the colony by massively increasing the HP of the bits outside shield holes. Finally, what other quick fixes should CIG implement? So they've tweaked that again so the constellation bits don't fall off it so easily, but it hasn't got its huge health buff that it had. I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you very much. I think I've already thanked Rykor the Ultimate for subbing and becoming a BoredGamer, but I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. Did you see Mandalorian this weekend? I have yet to watch Mandalorian, but I will watch it at some point. You have a coupon for cheaper game? Question mark. Currently on the RSI website, you can buy a discounted game package without any codes. It is here. You want stuff? Have a look. Have a look here. Bam. No, that's the Jericho. So at the moment, there's some Christmassy things going on. Oh, so one of the things that the new PTU patch fixed was you can actually sell the gifts now, which is great. That patch should go live later today. So every day as well, you can get a little gift to your account. Your Star Citizen, I think it's a Pico plushie at the moment still. Yeah, so an in-game flare of a Pico plushie. It's every day is changing up until the 22nd, up until tomorrow. There should be a gift today and a gift tomorrow. We also have discounted game packages. So I've got VAT here. It's in Great British pounds, so bear that in mind. But basically, the savings are 10 to 15% on a game package, which might be really good for you. If you haven't got the game yet, it certainly is good for you. Still recommending the Avenger Titan start pack, in my opinion. Although if you just want to get in as cheaply as possible, then the Aurora MR is perfect. Right? You're not going to be in it for very long. Bam, you're done with it. On to your next ship. Do you think the Mercury Star Runner is losing its chin guns too easily? Yes, I do. The 2 times I've done like big mission runs on them, I've lost it in like the second mission really quickly, and the turrets have been fine. Those chin guns are just, they just seem to ping off even when the shields are fully up. Starlight Fisher, I don't know that refinery jobs will be wiped when they update the patch. I mean, it is just a mini patch as well. It's not 3.12.1. It's just 3.12.0 with a little update. It is a worry. If you've already got them running, already got them running. Try and get it converted into money ASAP would be my suggestion. Did you get the best ending? I don't know. I got one of the lovey-dovey side endings. Are they working on inventory bugs and equipping bugs? That's been my main problem in 3.12. There are some fixes for that. So hopefully in the live build they'll make it. The known issues list is tiny in the PTU build. And there was some great updates there. Obviously they've addressed massively the issues with insurance, halving or being 40-50% off insurance timers, which is great. That's exactly what was needed. They set them far too high because they were mad. Jake Graven, you doing okay? Here's some money to help you feel better. Thank you very much. I am doing fine. Even better with extra money. Thank you very much, sir. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Everyone has a Merry Christmas. Are you... Did you get the best ending of Cyberpunk, or are you bad at making life decisions? You like the rest of us? Well, Tony Silverhand was friendly with me. The AIs were friendly with me. Everything was good. I think I got a good ending. It feels like a good ending. Do you think the Perseus will come out next year? No, I don't. So it's not straight into production, the Perseus. I mean, if it became a focus for them, yes, it could be. But I don't think it is. Then obviously they're going to want to get and it looks like they're going to want to get the Polaris out and the Banning Merchantman out first. It could have been food poisoning, but I wasn't sick, actually physically. But though I was nauseous and dizzy and. Do you think there will ever be stuff like Rona and diseases in game in the verse? Yes. So they are adding next year the player status system, next tier of it, and there is going to be medical gameplay. Now, there's some ways that I foresee things. You might be able to get ill, poisoned, have a status effect on you that's effectively a disease, get injured in a way that you require treatment, which gives you a debuff. Disease, debuff. Yeah, pretty much. So in that sort of way, yes. There might be ways of treating that with just hypos, or there might be you have to go to a specialist facility. Also, there could be missions and things as part of the dynamic universe sim that are effectively outbreak simulated, so that certain planets are quarantined. You have to. There's missions to bring medical goods to the stations above them. Things like that. That is the way I envision it. So what I'm going to say is, when it comes to mental health and illness and all that sort of jazz, is that you're not really alone. Like, always try and reach out. There's lots of other people that suffer from varying levels at different forms of anxiety and depression. So don't think you're, oh God, it's just me, or there's something wrong with me. Well, there's something wrong with all of us. And don't worry about that. That just makes you human. Andromeda versus Mercury. Obviously, the Connie can't data run, but for smuggling / cargo running, can the Connie's guns and same missiles be beat? So the Constellation has the benefit of having good armament. Yeah, really good armaments. That's one of its advantages. Any updates on the Merchantman being worked on / released? No, not really. Expect to see lots more coming next year on it, and I would expect them to start working on it properly next year at some point. But we're expecting to see the Polaris completed first before the Bounty Merchantman. Will there be a fix for trade terminals not showing items to buy? Should be fixed in this updated patch. They've got the gifts being able to be sold, and it wasn't mentioned as an issue in the bug fixes, in the known issues for this patch, so should be fixed with the new update that we should get later today. Thank you very much for the host, very much appreciated. They've enclosed the New Deal shops on Lawville and removed the ATC gates. Do you expect CIG is trying to make another landing zone like Microtech without the restricted zones? So we know that they've updated the landing planes and everything like that because they wanted to deal with air traffic control stuff. We know that they want to open up the armistice zones in around stations and potentially landing zones as well, so that you can fire FPS weapons. There's a lot of stuff also that could be inferred from that, but I don't know. I would expect there to be a lot of parity between the landing zones and for them to be more Microtech-like and give us a little bit more. We can actually get quite a bit closer to the cities. Do you think the developers should increase UEC bonuses for new pilots, maybe to at least 10,000? Isn't... Oh, for... Oh, I see what you mean. For using the referral codes. Maybe. And if you're looking to get Star Citizen and you want a referral code for it, there's the Reddit referral code thing, but there's also BoredGamer.co.uk/enlist will autofill a code for you as well. The terminals at the refinery decks, it does not show my ship or personal inventory. Yeah, there are bugs with it at the moment. Expect it to be fixed later today. Opinion on the Talon. A little bit too fragile. I mean, it's not hugely expensive as a ship, but I don't necessarily think it's worth the money. It's got a little bit of alien tax there. Do I get to keep my in-game ship support without UEC if I reset my character? Yes. As far as I'm aware. When will pooping mechanics be implemented? So as part of player status system, the new updates to it, you might have hygiene as part of that, which would probably be pee, poo, and showy. Shower. Thoughts on the reunion? I loved that. So the little short there was great. It was a cool show of the Belligerent Duck, of Mercury Star Runner, some of the little stories, and the Star Wars-esque, occasionally slightly gritty, but quite actiony and fun universe they're going for with Star Citizen. I like the fact that you saw a Banu sort of at the end. I was expecting to as well, so that was pretty cool. Do you think we will have access to Pro at some point next year? I'm hoping that we see it in our hands at the end of next year. What would you love to see in-game next year? Merry Christmas to you and Zen. And Zen is the person I've employed. Zen is another one of my friends that occasionally appears in my videos. I will pass your love on to both of them. Next year, physicalized inventories, physicalized components, other server meshing, iCache, a load of the core tech coming online. Look at me. I'm so sorry. you think the new roadmap will be released for Christmas? It'll be released in December at some point. I would hope to see it this week. But that's not a confirmation. I'm trying to buy the game with coupon, but the discount code is invalid or expired. Another coupon. I'm not. Coupon? No coupon. So there's that. On the website, there's the Christmas thing that you can see the ships on. Get them discounted through that. Would you like radio stations in game to listen to in your ship? Yes, and news channels, and not just radio, but video stuff as well. And I also want to be able to use the mobiGlas for a huge amount of pissing my time away. Whether that be casinos, whether that be browsing, whether that be Galactopedia, whether that be cool stuff at looking at on the star map or the stock markets, things like that. Does the refinery job stay after being logged out then? Yes. Refinery jobs are persistent in the sense that you can just log out and then come back to them later. Did you mean that we get Pyro system in the next year? So I'm hoping that we see Pyro at the end of next year. End Q4 2021 is when I'm hoping that it comes out. Happy Potatomus, indeed. Thank you. Like Spiffing Brit, do you also keep a portrait of Her Majesty the Queen above your desk, bed, and in each room of your home? No, so I've got a couple of pictures of the Queen and some pictures of Chris Roberts as well. I've got the Prince Charles room as well, when he becomes king. Sort of like, open it up. Do you happen to know if there's more recent talk about the Caterpillar modules? So, yeah. They talked a little bit about this. They said early-ish next year that they're going to be basically releasing or doing some bits with the Retaliator modules. So, awesome. Yeah, that's actually chip modularity that we've been waiting for a long time, starting with the Retaliator next year. And I would expect the Caterpillar to actually follow relatively soon after that, seeing that that's the main purpose of the ship. And there's a huge range of modules that the Caterpillar might be able to have, but we don't know for sure what. It could range from salvage to barracks to an armory to science to mining to just a huge range of stuff. Medical pods, different types of cargo pods, computer banks for data running. Is it a bad idea to do buybacks? I have a couple of ship packages that I upgraded. Well, I lose the perks like armor, since these packages I backed years ago. So if you melt a package, you lose everything that was in that package. With the new Tavaran ships coming out, do you agree that they should also make Tavaran language? Oh, I mean, they've got some bits of the Tavaran language. Black pudding worth it or not? So, black pudding, in the same way that you can get amazing sausages and terrible sausages, the black pudding is the same. You can get great black pudding and bad black pudding. And if you get good black pudding from Butcher, it's like amazing sausage. It's that the way, so the comparison. Shouldn't freak you out or anything. Black pudding's delicious. Can be. Can you stack your Centurion reward discount thing? As I have too. I don't think you can apply both at the same time. And if you use a referral when creating your account, you and the code holder will both get a lifetime insurance Dragonfly when you buy the game package. Yes, as long as you buy it before the 11th of January. So people have all been given a Dragonfly for a limited period of time until January the 11th. And if you sign up a recruit in that time, both you and your recruit get a lifetime insurance. Dragonfly permanently on your account. The new patch has dropped to live. Is this accurate and true? That would be good if it has. I haven't seen the update for 3.12. I haven't had an update in my launcher. I lost all my refined products to 30k trying to bring them to a major city. Ugh. Are they going to allow selling refined ore inside the L1s once the refining job is done? Okay, so I'm not entirely sure how the economy is going to work when it comes to refining and selling your refined goods, exactly where you'll be able to do that. I would like to be able to sell some of them at refineries at reduced prices. That seems reasonable, right? Because, well, I suppose they need to have a cargo deck, really, for you to be able to sell them there. See what I mean? So there's space for you to have all this cargo that then someone else can buy and then just transport. What I want, more than anything, is a way to recover from 30Ks. Short term, I want to be able to recover from a 30K. Just go, oh, you lost your ship, but we detected it didn't explode. It's at the nearest station where you lost it, or where you respawn. Something like that. I don't want people to combat log or whatever, but... Do you think they'll do any further reworks and updates to the Constellation? Well, yes, but in the same way they're going to do it to all ships. Obviously, it needs to be made ready for physical components and the P-52, P-72 docking. And there's going to be new materials and lighting passes and stuff like that as well. And they also said that they were going to be doing some bits on the struts and some light bits as well beyond that. Full wipe before gamer launch? Yes. Is Claim Jumper bugged in 3.12? Because every time when I take the mission, there's nothing. It takes a while to spawn in, I found. You know a way to duplicate the WoW Blast guns for my poor non-subscribed buddies? No. Beyond buying them at the moment from as a sub. And obviously gift them. If I character reset and my in-game bought ships are gone, do I message support? Yes. I think so. I'm pretty sure that the character reset shouldn't delete all your items, as far as I'm aware. Hercules C2 or other variants Q1 2021. Potentially the Hercules C2. I wouldn't expect the other variants with it, though. I lost my freelancer for some reason. Now I only have my Avenger Titan and my Mustang Alpha. I don't know how I could do cargo runs now. Rent the ship? Rent a cargo ship? Rent a cargo ship, you rich mother trucker. What else do we have? I'm still a little bit ill, so bear that in mind. I'm pretty knocked for 6 or 7, in fact. Any news on the Corsair? I'm really looking forward to the ship. Yeah, me too. It's a no-frills exploration ship. Obviously, it's not going to have all the necessary gameplay to make it an exploration ship at launch, but it is going to be solid multi-role. Don't have an estimate on it when it's going to be out though. Are you hopeful for next year things getting back to normal? I think stuff will get back more on track. CIG have been pretty good with being able to develop still remotely, and they're pretty set up for it. But yes, from March onwards, I'm expecting things to go back to a lot nearer to normal. I would expect to see an early to mid-year CitizenCon, and maybe a end-of-year CitizenCon as well. Maybe 2 CitizenCon-esque events next year. Gladius versus Talon, should I upgrade? Up to you. Both are light fighters. The Gladius is probably better at the moment because it's a lot more tanky. Has there been any information on the bug where you get stuck in the mining lasers of the mole? I haven't noticed that mentioned for a fix or an issue in the latest 3.12 PTU build, so hopefully fixed. Talon is fragile, but has more HP than the K2 Owl, better flight characteristics, and the same item slots at $80 cheaper. What done to the K2 Owl now, given it was already buffed? So it needs to really fly differently, the K2 Owl. But alien tax, eh? What do you think about people hijacking the Idris? Saw a clip on YouTube earlier. Yeah, so I saw that as well. So people have been able to hijack the Idris and get in the pilot seat and actually fly it and have the NPCs that are in it shoot targets still. Even if when you hijack it, you can still it will still auto fire. It's interesting. Well, that's pretty cool. We knew we'd be able to break into it, eh? Everyone had freelancers for free before this patch. Did they all get reset? Yes, I believe the reason for them being given to people as is no longer necessary. It doesn't fix a bug anymore. Watching Runion Part 2, can we safely assume that Xeno relationships are a thing in Star Citizen? I suspect so. People probably friendly with aliens. If there was one ship you would buy that was expensive, I know that's subjective, money isn't the object necessarily, or the idea of buying virtual ships is hard to swallow. I agree. Like, why would you buy anything more than a starter package or maybe an Avenger Talon? Avenger Titan. And the reason is, well, sometimes, well, I bought a lot of my ships because I wanted to support Star Citizen and because I wanted ships for content. So I got about $3,000 worth of ships, which is a very expensive amount of ships. Actually, I have a lot more value of ships than that, but I've spent $3,000. And the most expensive ship I own is the most expensive ship I can own, I believe, which is a Javelin. Do we have any ideas when the Pioneer will be on sale? Once they announce some more base building-y type things again next year, probably. And the latest, it will be November with the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. No new news on the Apollo. Might they create upgraded command modules for the Caterpillar that have perhaps a medbay? It's not command modules, but modular sections. So the Caterpillar is supposed to have 4 modular sections, which can all be swapped out with whatever's available. Some of those might be medical pods. Some of them might be scanning pods, mining pods, sciencey stuff. There's a huge range of things. Data mining, data running pods, computers. It also potentially has a front module as well. That's a separate thing. We know that they are doing modular parts for ships next year, starting with the Retaliator. What's your wish list for 2021? Physicalized components, resource system, physicalized inventories done properly with needing to have like spacesuits and all your gear with you. Server meshing, iCache, pyro. Those are the main things I want. And then beyond that, wish, sort of like animals. Lots of a dynamic economy. Theaters of war. Things like that. about performance updates and increasing frames. They're working on their Gen 12 renderer and Vulkan integration. That's going to help hugely with scalability and performance. They will eventually get the game into a nice, polished state. Yeah, for people that are having problems selling stuff in game, I expect that to be solved pretty soon. That's my expectation. Thought the PT patch they were going to deploy was going to solve that, so hopefully it does. Have you done any bounty hunting in 3.12? Yes. I've made a ton of cash as well. I've really enjoyed bounty hunting. I love the reputation system in 3.12. I think it's worked out really well, and I think that bounty hunting, annoying that you've got to turn up and it takes a little while to sometimes spawn everything. It's a fun experience, and it's a nice chain that you can just do. You know, the same planetary system. You don't have to jump up all over the place. You can do the assessment missions that go up tier in bounty hunting as well. It's good. Now, I think you only get one dragonfly, however many recruits you get. Let me check. Let me check. I don't even know when they're going to get attributed. Log into one of my accounts that's likely to have some new people on it. I don't know. A referral program. I don't know. But I don't think so. I think you only get one. What is store credit and how do I get it? So when you melt a ship, so you buy a ship, buy something in Star Citizen with real money, you can melt it if you want to. You literally break it into store credit. That's what store credit is. And then you can apply it to another ship package or ship. Do you think Q1 will just be stability and polish focused? No, not just. I think January will be. How you doing, Bod? I'm doing very well, thank you very much. I was very ill, Death Fruit, like flu-wise, and I've recovered pretty well over the last couple of days. I was pretty ill last week. I was genuinely worried. I was like, this. I thought we kept up pretty well with videos as well. It's like I'd maybe 2 hours a day of competency, I'd say. What else have we got here? I think they should add a refinery overview to the Moby class. So I want to see, yes, I want to see a full asset list, similar to Eve, but Star Citizen-y and prettier, so that I can see where all my ships are, where all my assets are, where all of my gear is, and a breakdown of all of it. So yeah, I think a list of all the jobs and where they are as well should be part of that. They are sort of building that asset slash accountancy app. Do you think that mining's been temporarily nerfed, maybe, to get people to focus on the new Xeno mission? So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it plays out. I don't think specifically mining has been nerfed because of that. I would like to see payouts for mining and refining higher. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to those dynamic events, though. Looking forward to Xeno Threat. I'm looking forward to some fleet battles. Looking forward to other bits. Question speculation. Do you think mining has become... Oh, that's what this we just talked about. Any ideas when older ships like the Gladiators will be updated? So obviously everything's going to get updates with the sort of new materials, lighting passes, disguised components, the new resource systems, and I expect them to get a little tiny bit of light update and balance at the same time. Why does 30k happen? I love that as just a name of a video. So 30ks are a blanket term covering all forms of client-to-server disconnections for Star Citizen. It can actually be a huge range of different things, but that could be lose connection from the server because of a crash. Server crashes, potentially you not sending enough data, you pull the plug on your modem, huge range of things. It just bundles them all together. As you get a more stable netcode and game, and Star Citizen sort of handles errors better as well, error handling stuff, you will have less 30ks in the future, I'm trying to say. Will there be some sort of benefit for players that play now when the game launches, besides the experience? Mostly experience and obviously some of the little additional account extras. But mostly the fact that you've helped influence the game and the experience. Will you be able to hire AI fighters to escort you? Yes, that's the plan. NPCs, crews, and some level of NPC wingmen. But to what extent, we don't 100% know. They don't want you to be able to just hire a fleet of AI. Opinion. For a new player, is the Freelancer Miss a good bounty hunter craft? So what I'd say is that I don't like the stamina of missile ships for bounty hunting. What I mean by that is that it's going to cost you a lot of money to refill and outfit like your missiles. See what I mean? And you'll have to stop off every so often. But with a full laser ship, like I run my Saber, run the Saber doing bounty hunting, I don't have to go back pretty much ever during even doing high threat bounties. So. Do you think it's going to be possible to purchase an in-game version of the current IRL lifetime insurance for our ships? So you'll be able to insure your ships in-game. Lifetime insurance isn't going to be that impressive, in my opinion. So I think what they're going to be doing with lifetime insurance is it will just cover the hull of the ship. Yeah? And as will the monthly insurance stuff. And you've got 3 years insurance, covers the hull of your ship. What does that mean, though? Well, that means that your changes that you make to that ship, the customizations, the cargo, the new systems you've put on it, your A-class military gear, which is going to be probably significantly more valuable than your ship's hull, yeah, and the default gear on it, and that will need insuring separately. That's where your insurance is going to really go. Yeah? So I don't think lifetime insurance will cover that, so bear that in mind. Everyone's going to be buying insurance, is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm sure you have answered this, but I'm looking to buy Caterpillar or the Banu Merchantman. Is the Banu coming coming this year? It's not coming this year. No, we're at the end of 2020. Could it be coming in 2021? It could be, but I would not expect it. I don't think it is a focus of CIG to get the Banu Merchantman in by the end of next year. They could do it though, if they wanted to. I'd expect it to see it mid-2022, Banu Merchantman. Will the Polaris stop being a limited hull on the release? No. You probably will be able to buy it in game though. Thank you very much, Spicy Noodle Cups. Thanks for the sub, very much appreciated. Kamikaze M50, do you know what happened with the Hammerhead during the Idris battle? Look, okay, it was a little tight. I clipped the Hammerhead very lightly. Okay, you've got the footage. It's a very light clip. If anything, I was the victim. Do you think there's a chance of a new ship release before Christmas break? There is a chance. Obviously, that ship that we've talked about before, previously, that leaked ship, Last Leaks talked about, that said that it might be flyable for 3.12. It's possible. Do you think our armor will become sacred, scared? Yes. Due to conflicts, and it will scarred. I think there will be damage represented on armor, and it will be able to through sort of dirt and grime. I'm not sure if you'll permanently have damage shown on armor ever, even after cleaning, because that's a lot of things to track. It's possible. The way they have every individual item tracked in game would allow them to do it. I suppose. But I do think it would be a little bit as resource prohibitive. I think we'll get the roadmap for Christmas. We'll see it. The plan is to see it in December. I'm hoping we see it this week. There's a high probability we'll see it this week. What's this big quarterly in-game event thing about? So we're expecting... okay. So with every patch release now, they can do dynamic events whenever they want as part of those patch cycles. We know that Cloud Imperium started that with 3.12 properly anyway, because obviously you could argue that Fleet Week stuff was the same, but it was much harder for them to turn it on and off, like hard-coded in. But for 3.12, we've got some form of large-scale events and missions and things that can happen that will be turned on at some point. We're expecting it this week, and we're expecting it to be the Xenothreat stuff, seeing that was some of the audio used for the advertisement of Assault on Stanton, the actual patch release. That would have, like, marauding fleets or assaults or attacks, or Idris battles and fleet battles with Xenothreat, who are this terrorist pirate organization, and, like, server-style raids that anyone can get involved with. Any rumours about tractor beams, push-pull tier 1 coming out? Oh, obviously you've got hand tractor beams now that are functional. The Star Citizen, although we can't use them in areas that we need to be able to use them. So areas that are armistice zones at the moment, we can't pull out the tractor beams for our multi-tools. But that should actually be turned on pretty soon, I would expect. We'll be able to do that probably in Q1 2021. Also, that will evolve into ship tractor beams, which coming relatively soon, but we don't have a date yet. Maybe when we see the roadmap, they'll show tractor beams on there for ships. When are you expecting to see the Starlifter? Q1 2021 is what I'm hoping to see it. If the UE are spawning in from Jericho Station, how will Xenothreat come into the Pyro system if we don't come from the Pyro system if we don't have jump points yet? Well, they just spawn and move around the verse. They don't need the jump point in there. It's a game. But they're technically coming from. Or maybe they'll put the jump point in. They don't actually have to have it activate or anything. They just have it as a location. The ring, like we saw in 2019 at CitizenCon. What's your favourite aspect of Star Citizen? Probably the community, quite genuinely. But the project as a whole, I love following the whole project. I want this new evolved Eve 2.0 first person with a load of stuff going on, a cool economy, and all this stuff to back it up in this beautiful fidelity. Question and statement. Rock mining and selling of the materials acquired. Are there certain areas you can sell at such as surface installations? What? Sell here the place. You can sell it at certain places, yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit confused by that question. Why was there no monthly report? So they skip it after CitizenCon and they have it in January. They skip it after not CitizenCon, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo and sort of CitizenCon. Basically, you have it in January. You have December's and November's in January. I don't have lost of bounty hunter missions. Is there a way to get them to pop up? Yes. So you need to do the certification missions when you get them. So that you'll have to pay to do the certification missions. It will be literally in your mission section. Your personal bounty hunter missions. Pay to do the certification missions, do them, complete them, then you'll unlock that tier of bounty hunter missions to do. You also get reputation the more bounty hunting missions you do as well. You mount a ship with LTI, is the LTI lost? Yes. You upgrade a ship with lifetime insurance, you keep the lifetime insurance, whatever ship you upgrade it to. Xavier, yeah, you more than I posted the link earlier to the Lumberyard stuff, but I can post it again. I appreciate Aaron Smith. Thank you very much for the kind words. Do Vandal have forked tongues? I don't think so. I think they're more anglerfish than they are snacks. Do you think there'll be another sale before the Idris goes live? Idris won't be player flyable properly. People are breaking it, get into it. At the moment, it won't be properly playable, flyable for a while. So I would expect it to go on sale again, yes. Now we have the Talon, the Prowler, and CIG have got a decent ship language for... decent design language for Tavaran ships. You think we'll see the Tavaran civilian/industrial ships? So Tavaran are pretty assimilated into the UEE, and any of the ships sort of that they reproduce is very much sort of like they find data caches or they find stuff and they go, oh look, we can actually build these ships again now. They don't need to have them. I think we're more likely to see a Xi'an cargo ship first, and the mobile refinery first, and some other ships. They don't need to flesh out the Tavaran race any further, what I'm saying. For ships, wise. You think we will see the Perseus before the Polaris? I think Polaris, Banner Merchantman, Perseus. Even though the Perseus is quite small and simple. Because they didn't say it straight into production. They said it was concepted and they're moving on to some other stuff. We know anything about the Hercules C2? So I'm expecting it as for the Q1 2021 patch. Moment, not a confirmation. I think it's likely. How will server meshing scale for thousands of people in one place? How will PC players render everything? So, they don't want thousands of people in a single room. Obviously, space is big, and the way server meshing would deal with it is that every individual room or ship or area of space can all be an object container or nested in another object container. So, say that they can only have 100 people in each area, and then they section it off into little areas of 100. But an individual Idris could be its own little server. When do you think the best time would be to upgrade T to play Star Citizen? If you want to play now, then now. Well, start of next year. Parts are attainable again. I'm still waiting on parts of my computer build that I was planning to build early December. A little annoying. You know, see Stolen Interest video. Yes, we saw the Stolen Interest video. I've seen it. How do you feel about the Car2 Owl now the Talon has come in and shown up? I mean, the Car2 Owl needs a huge amount of work anyway, and we need to have physicalized components and all the ships flying. It needs to fly really uniquely and be interesting. So I was never a huge fan of the Car2 Owl. I'm much more of a fan of the Talon. Will we see less human and more gritty, questionable food in game? I would expect to see in the different systems and things more Banu food, Xi'an food in the Xi'an areas. Yeah, mean, there'll be a selection of human food as well. Random question. At some point, the Banner Merchantman had defenders as protection. Any chance we'll see the Banner Merchantman snubs? Well, they're not going to be snubs, but there is supposed to be a some form of synergy with the Banner Merchantman and Banner Defender. So maybe it can light dock with them or something like that. Or you, Evacardi, what do you know about any surprises that we may see before Christmas? I can't talk about the specifics of the Evacardi patches, but obviously we know that there's various things that are coming. We're expecting dynamic events and stuff probably this week before Cloud Imperium go off. We're expecting that Xeno threat stuff. Will there be another Invictus Fleet Week sale again this year? Well, next year, yes. You'll get the Fleet Week and you'll get the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. So May for Fleet Week, Intergalactic Aerospace Expo November, and we should see CitizenCon and maybe another CitizenCon-like event as well next year. Has there been any news about building hubs and bases on planets? Well, yes, and we know that they're working towards that. We know that the Pioneer is going to be much more of a mobile base building factory now rather than just an outpost builder. You're not going to need a Pioneer to build bases, but it's going to make it a lot easier and make the scale of your base a lot different. So sort of bear that in mind. To exactly what extent we're going to be able to build bases, well, we know that they've got a overhead view that they've been working on for base building, and they want bases to be pretty expansive. They've been working on homesteads, which are sort of connected loosely to bases as well, at least. And they're building more and more locations and points of interest in the game as part of those like asset packs. So more information as we get it. Yeah, base building will be a lot more expansive now, as they've basically said. G2 Aaron, thank you very much. Okay, Aaron, much for the sub, appreciate it. And Spicy Noodle Cups, thank you very much for the sub. If I didn't already, thank you. Is the patch that fixes the nonsense of the insurance claims out yet? Well, someone said that the new patch has been released, but I've not yet seen that myself. Yeah, so on the PTU, the insurance patch was there earlier. I was playing on it. It's fixed what I would deem entirely fixed the insurance issues. It's not 50% off the timers, 50% off the timers. Have we told you we love watching Zin play the game? Cool, because I'm going to get her to probably talk about the Idris battle from her point of view, and me and Zin will be playing a weekly is the plan on stream. So I haven't really made use of the right way for the channel yet, but he was learning and I was sort of like I'm easing her in with it. So we'll start playing a lot more, and I think we get on pretty well gameplay wise. How likely are we to see the Vulture next year? I'd say we'd probably see the Vulture next year. I mean, they wanted to have it in last year. So I've got a new microphone. And I was not really close to my mic. Oh no, I did have a noise gate on. Boop, 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 boop. Test, test, test. Test. Is that better for noise gate? Yeah? Should be a bit better. Thanks for answering all our questions. No worries. I mean, that's literally what these are about. It's content for me. I get to talk to people. I get to chill out and actually think about some new content I can put out. And people get to tell me to go fuck myself. Thanks. Pardon my French. Are there statistics available to the public on what ships are used more often or more popular? Only when CIG release it, as far as I'm aware. You're welcome. I really enjoy your videos and get the most out of the Star Citizen news when you. What kind of things might we be able to do on our bases? So farming, exploiting resources and minerals on planets, things like that. The same sort of stuff you could do on ships, I think, is the idea, with also crafting. They've talked a bit about crafting before, but there should be a good amount of gameplay associated with bases. It could just be a place that you can house your operations out of as well. So, what would be good is a cheap upgrade from the Avenger Titan. Oh. So, from the Avenger Titan, you'd go to Cutlass Black, probably. That's the sort of standard upgrade sort of route. Do you think we'll be able to team up with the Xeno threat and engage in PvP during the large server events? I don't know. I was curious on whether we'd be able to do the counter side of it for the illegal players. Will they be able to help Xeno threat do whatever they're doing? So I don't know. Expect to see events like that in the future, where there are definitely very much two sides. It doesn't seem to work in game with people being able to spam global chat and make chat difficult. Has CIG mentioned anything about a functional mute button? I know that that's a plan, but I'm not sure when you'll get it. Any talk to when ramps, elevators, canopy bugs will be fixed? They wanted to have the canopy bug fixed in 3.12. They had a fix for it, but it didn't hold, as it were. It's not currently fixed. I'm hoping that that's done soon, though, like 3.12.1 sort of soon. For combat, flight, E-hat is better, OTAS or mouse and keyboard. It's all about your personal preference. A lot of people say joystick is the best. Thoughts on the Orion dedicated or cargo SU size? Somewhere between a Hull C and Hull T. I don't know what we're going to see from the Orion when they update us on it, because we know it doubled in size. What do you think science gameplay will look like? Science gameplay is going to be a huge range of stuff, from stuff that goes to exploration to crafting. It's a huge range. So it's going to be a bit of exploration. You're going to be able to scan down certain anomalies and things. You're going to be collecting scientific data. You're going to be crunching data. You're going to be making compounds and drugs. You're going to be doing a huge range of stuff. Farming, some medical gameplay. It sort of touches on a huge range of stuff. The Endeavour is just like this huge science ship. So will salvaging be in next year? So I'm expecting it, yes. I'm expecting it to come in with physicalized components. Basically, physicalized components have been planned for and being worked on for ages. But the idea is that you can take a component away. It's part of a ship's resource system. So you take that component out, it breaks the loop, and that component can't be used, and you can replace it with a different component. But that also allows you, when you can take that component away, to salvage a component. It's the same thing. But also probably allow the cutting tool to cut off weapons and cut off items and take them away as well. And that's also technically repair as well, replacing it. So physical components gives us that form of salvage. There's actually lots of different types of salvage. There's hull stripping, there's siphoning, there's more salvage, which is breaking off chunks of salvage and then crunching it up and making it into blocks. The reclaimer does more salvage, more as in a gaping more. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to bio quick. Actually, going to have a sip of water first. Sorry, there was a cat that needed attention, and I need to put potatoes in the oven. Sorry. Oh, no. Oh, my way. Ah, my way's blocked. Okay, we're good. Got a little lucky cat. Haven't put any batteries in it yet. So my mate Kit, she sent me a lucky cat because we were playing Raft the other day. And there's little lucky cats in that, and I love them. He's going with his fucking waving now. He's a waving machine, that boy. Oh. Knowing CIG as we do, what are the odds that you'd give on seeing iCache and server meshing in 2021? So, iCache, 90%. Server meshing, 50%. I'm hoping server meshing is going to be end of 2021, Q4. If you say Chris Roberts 3 times in a mirror, he'll come into your room and tuck you in at night and then kiss your forehead. Kiss you on the forehead social distance-wise, yeah? What else we got? Do you think the Battle Matchman could keep other ships supplied on long journeys? So maybe that's one of its functions. Maybe that it's supposed to have some sort of functionality with the Defender. So maybe it can resupply, refuel, and repair it, sort of thing. Is there any news on the Ares flying gun yet? Nope. But I wouldn't expect it too far in the future. Like, it's pretty simple as a ship. When do you think we'll realistically have the C2 Hercules? I realistically think Q1 2021. Is the Constellation Taurus a good upgrade from the Cutlass Black? I think so. It's pretty cheap. It's $150, isn't it? I think it's going to be a great upgrade from the Cutlass Black. When do you think we'll see the first iteration of iCache? Q2, Q3, 2021. It depends on, is it ready then? I think they're aiming for Q2 2021 at the moment. Have you got more hands in? I lost a lot more weight. Do you think the Retaliator modules will be implemented near the beginning of next year or more like Q2? It's Q1 or Q2, but I'm not sure when. What else? What else do we have? How's the stability in 3.12? It's been great for me. I was able to do I did 6 hours recording session without any issues, and I finished the session before any issues occurred, and sync had very few people crashing. Are there any plans to improve UI for key binding options? I would expect so. Not specifically that I've heard, but I would expect that. Do you have any plans for allowing people to adopt your Beluga Whale forehead and offer donations to its well-being? Wow. Sort of like adopt it. And I like that. I like the adopt a BoredGamer head. Thanks. It's appreciated. Thanks, Tree. What will the... what will the... What will be the next major tech update? Like salvage or base building? I'm a bit confused what you mean by that. Sorry. Do you foresee CIG having an active role in policing the community once they are able to? Or do you think they'll be hands-off and separate themselves from their community? Good question. I think the community on their side of things, from like Spectrum and stuff, their community, I think they will police to a relative extent. They will have policies which will be enforced. And again, stuff that's done in game, that will be, you have to use their product appropriately. You can't, be a monster on it. And people overly trolling or whatever, or breaking the terms of service, will get punished and banned and that sort of stuff. Off their site, community-wise, I mean, do they have any right to really police? I mean, technically it could still be against their terms of service, but I hope they wouldn't overstep their bounds. Hey board, have Cloud Imperium mentioned on how the power system will be managed? Will there be a lot of running around your ship and accessing nodes with a tool, or from a station on your ship? So you're going to be able to have access to all the different, well, a lot of the different nodes and stuff on your ship for routing power and routing the resources. But the individual nodes and relays can break. You might be able to reroute some of them from that terminal, but some of them will need to be actually physically repaired by hand. So say you've got a hammerhead, yeah? You got your hammerhead, and you've got a load of its relays on. So there's going to be extra components, these relays, which are going to deal with sending power and resources to other systems. If those go down, or some of those go down, or some of the systems go down that are connected, well, you are going to need power to be able to, or fuel to turn into power to make power for the systems. And if you don't have that, well, some of those systems aren't going to work. And you will need to send an engineer, or someone's going to go in there and have to fix those relays individually. Now, it's going to be, there might be a mini game associated with it. It might just be literally you replace it or tweak it, or replace a fuse, or literally just jostle some wires or whatever. But you're only going to need to send someone physically there to go and solve that. Now, there might be ways of auto rerouting, that like having a server AI blade which will just reroute power and stuff around. The reason you wouldn't have all your relays on as well immediately is because that they themselves consume power. So you want to be like fuel efficient, because basically fuel becomes power in Star Citizen effectively. To be fuel efficient, or to be power efficient at the very least, you're going to want to not have all these relays on at the same time, but at the same time you're going to want to be able to manage this stuff. But they've also talked about damage control in general, like fires can break out on ships. That's why they're building some of this fire tech at the moment, and that could have you requiring to put out the fire before you repair these nodes, or you're going to have a lack of oxygen in an area because the fire's burning all the oxygen away. You might be able to open the you open the hatches and open certain doors to vent it out into space, and then, well, maybe the fire's still raging because it's a different type of fire, and you have to send someone in an EVA suit. There's loads of stuff with that. But really looking forward to that sort of multi-crew gameplay. Physicalized components will mean, yeah, you probably have repair and salvage coming on at the similar time, but it means that with that physical damage system that you don't have artificial health pools for ships anymore. The ships have can get damaged, but they don't necessarily explode. In fact, they'll probably quite rarely explode. The components will take damage. That will affect the ship. That will disable the ship. That will kill the ship. If you take out the power, well, then they haven't got power for life support systems. If you take out the engines or whatever, well, they can't move. But the other thing there is they might be able to repair themselves during a fight. So you might disable a ship, but how long is it disabled? Well, it might be permanently disabled. Until another ship turns up and tows it, or like a crucible comes along and repairs it. But they might be able to do some self-repairs themselves. So sort of bear that in mind, and that's the sort of gameplay I'm looking forward to. Claim time has revealed a key issue with gameplay today. What and when can we expect non-ship gameplay for when you're waiting or can't afford to reclaim? Yeah, so totally agree with you. They need other things to do in-game. So stuff to do on your Moby-Glass, stuff to look at on the star map, mini-games, news, radio, stock markets, all that sort of stuff. That will be coming in the future. Lots of ways to piss your time away. Open canopy bug is still an issue. Will they add landing pads close to refinery decks so we can go direct to the refinery instead of long elevator rides? Maybe. Thank you very much, Super Mac Brothers, for the raid, by the way. Sorry, I saw that earlier, but I was answering a question. Apologies. Thank you so much, sir. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for the raid. I hope you had a good stream yourself. If you'd like to ask a question about anything, question in brackets. Have you seen the leaked cinematics for the Assault on the Sands and stuff? Yes, but I think it's potentially part of an Eva Carty data mine, so I won't specifically address them. Anyone can please their own site. Anything beyond the borders of their garden is overstepping their bounds. Yeah. I potentially, for the most part, agree with you. There might be some situations beyond that. I'm not sure. I need to actually think. But yeah, I'd agree with you on that. I would worry about people overstepping their bounds beyond that. Okay, say that a group made a hate site, or literally a bullying site is what I would say, about a particular player that they wanted everyone to attack. Like, that might be something beyond, outside of Spectrum that CIG might go on. You're using our assets and our platform to literally attack this guy. Come on. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about attacking him in game. I'm talking about literally a more bullying. Something that would be like, this is objectively bullying, not even just poking the bear. Do you see what I mean? Like, maybe there's... I think I'm pretty reasonable in looking at lots of situations, and maybe that still is them overstepping. Do you know what I mean? Regarding previous question, do you think players could not be brutally cruel overlord destroying everyone standing against him, like in Eve, for example? What? There's nice players. There's nice people. Flying is a skill of the player. Same goes for shooting or even trading. But what skill should a player, not character, need to train to repair or salvage? Just knowing how to do it and having the right tools at the right time. That's mostly it. The more you do it, the quicker you'll be able to do it more efficiently. And there might be a minigame involved with it. Regarding previous questions, as I talked about that, it's a bit confused. As we know, Cloud Imperium had massive funding this year. How much do you think this was down to new players in the verse? I think there was a big portion of it down to new players. I think a lot of it is also the whales as well. But do you think there was a big surgence of new players? I think they've hit over 1 million unique players this year. In prison, will there be more ways of escaping? Yes, and there will also eventually be more prisons. Tell us about piracy, please. How will it work? Any similarities to DayZ, Rust style gameplay? So, piracy, you're going to be able to take missions or get information about where trade routes are, and you're going to be able to assault the ships on those trade routes. You have to attack them, disable them, steal their cargo, steal their ships, that sort of stuff. That could be players, that could be NPCs. There's going to be bases as well that you can raid. So, player bases, NPC bases. And then you'll be able to literally take cargo across. It's going to be risk and reward, like how long do you spend doing that, because there's probably going to be security forces coming or players coming and missions associated with getting you. You can potentially turn off some of the trade routes, some of the comm arrays and stuff in an area, so that it's a bit safer for you, that something's not detected, but people will realise that an area is down. And also, if you're using quantum interdiction to pull ships out, you might pull a javelin or a fleet, like a military fleet out by accident if you're not doing it in the right area. So that might be like, do you think we'll be hit with brand new gameplay loops in 2021? If so, yes, which ones? So evolution of lots of gameplay loops, but physicalized components should bring around repair and salvage to some extent. Obviously, medical gameplay as well has been worked on for a while. There's lots of little bits of gameplay that are building towards all of the gameplay loops we'll start to see. So more and more and more gameplay. Alright, Vaxo. I apologise for synchronizers to ramming, taking out a hammerhead in the most efficient way possible. You mentioned that ships will or might not be exploding as much during space combat as physicalized components will have for component damage. Are you mostly talking about larger ships, the multi-crew ones? I ask because I would assume smaller ships like fighters or starter ships will explode more often than not when taking critical damage. It depends on the actual system taking damage. So a lot of ships are just going to be disabled. I mean, you could obviously kill the pilot as one of the components. You're a component, effectively. But if you take out a power plant or some sort of fuel area or something on the ship, like your fuel tank. It's possible that could go critical and explode, blowing the ship up. Stuff exploding will still happen. It just will happen a lot less. I don't think necessarily it's about the size of the component necessarily. Hi, Bored. I literally am brand new. Haven't even purchased the game yet. Only heard about it for the first time yesterday, but I'm super excited and haven't felt this way about a game in such a long time. Will there be a guild and clan system in Star Citizen? Yes. There are organisations you can join now. There's a huge amount of organisations for every type of gameplay you could possibly imagine, for every type of player at a huge amount of different sizes. On my YouTube, there is a series called Org Spotlight, but also if you just search for organisations in Star Citizen, there's a huge range of them on the website. You can browse and look through, and a lot of them will help teach you the game. Is the best way to enjoy Star Citizen is with an org and them teaching you how to play, really. So shop around, make sure you get the org you like. You can always leave and join a different org, but you'll find great friends there and a huge amount of gameplay there. When is the new roadmap coming? We're expecting it in December. I'd hope to see it by the end of this week. Tries to hide in whale shame. No new news on Theatres of War. Expect to see a new Evocati test for Theatres probably in January or February. And that go out to more people, hopefully by the end of Q1 is what I'd hope. But we'll have to wait and see. On the new straight-to-flyable potential ships for 3.12 that haven't come out yet, we could see that ship by the end of the year. It's a possibility. As I said in videos that I've covered it in, it is was a rumour and a leak, and certainly wasn't confirmed as coming out. Is the Connie viable solo? Sort of. I mean, you'd be able to run it with an AI Blade or two, or NPC crew. But I mean, you really, those two turrets, you're going to want to make sure they're manned. A Taurus, I suppose, is more viable. Should run with 1 or 2 people. An old video showed a guy in Area 18 using a beautiful HUD and interface to track down a bounty. Can't find that video. I remember seeing pictures of that rather than a video. Any news when data run is coming into the game? They've been building UIs for it and stuff. I'm just not sure when it's coming in. I would expect to see it in 2021, at least some bits of it. There was a Sky pirate game where you are in a dirigible and your team have to fix the ship, put out fires, and all fighting each other. Oh yeah, there is. I remember playing that. In the prison. Or the ways of escaping. We've talked about that already. When will you be receiving your Toby eye tracker? I don't know. There is one on its way to me and Zin. We've got one each. And we're going to be using them and messing around with them. And reviewing them and doing a guide on them as well. There's no... My review of it, and is it worth it, and what situations is it worth it in, will be as reasonable and tempered as possible. Basically, at the very least, I'll say, who is this for? Even if I don't like it, I'll be like, this is who this is for. There's no requirement for me to say anything in particular with my review. The only thing that I've been paid off in the way that they've sent me a free one. And anything, if there's any sort of affiliate links or anything else that I'm getting paid for, if you click on anything, you get a free, you get money off, whatever. I'll disclose that fully. So don't you worry about that. What can you tell us about data running? So data is cargo, data running. That will be a thing in game at some point. Very UI based, as far as I'm aware. There will be ways of you getting your own data. So whether that's intercepting data or finding it in other locations and putting it on your computers and then selling it, that will be a thing as well. To what extent, we don't know yet. My 3 friends and I have clocked 20 plus hours of playtime in 3.12 to date. With only 2 30Ks. That is great to hear. Other people reported 30Ks every 10 minutes. That's going to be something to do with their particular rigs or their connections or something. It could be to do with their router, it could be to do with their internet service provider, it could be to do with their setup. There's a huge range of things. It could be to do with their literal geographic location. Maybe the server connections are terrible where they are, and when they're in a different country. There's a huge range of things it could be that could mean that someone has a great experience and someone has a bad one. But I have typically very few 30Ks. The most annoying thing I have with Star Citizen at the moment is when I Alt-Tab, it crashes. Ah! Do you think the Kraken is near completion? No. It will, even after it's finished white box, it needs to go through grey box and final art, and then be set up ready, and it's quite a big ship. If it to be see the reputation on the mobiGlas and the gameplay loop refueling and info over refinery. What? I'm very confused what you mean. Bit confused what that statement or question is, Viper. Sorry. Would it be reasonable to think? Would it be reasonable to think that engineering would be best played by rerouting component powers when components are down, like a puzzle? I mean, there'll be an element of that. There'll be an element of just general management, and there'll be an element of you having to go up and fix it. So reputation's a thing. They will show reputation in a much more player-facing way at some point in the future. What is the purpose of server meshing and iCache, if that's what it's called? So iCache is a layer between sort of like all the databases in the game in the back end and the game servers, so it will allow it to track everything and quickly respond to queries, grabbing information where needed, and changing it without having to physically change it on the database for you to receive that data. So basically it's a super efficient, quick process, allowing for a lot more to happen in game and in server without everything imploding. Yeah, it's a requirement for server meshing as well. It's a requirement for a huge range of the gameplay and core systems in Star Citizen. Server meshing then allows for servers to be stitched together and nested in each other and then communicate with each other seamlessly. That's the idea of server meshing. So you could have a single ship as a server in another server that communicates with other ships, which are also servers that fight each other. So you can have multiple capital ships fighting each other, which are all technically their own servers. That's sort of the gist of it. And it scales dynamically eventually. So static's the first stage, and then dynamic. And dynamic means that every individual object container can become a server. But it can also just be part of another server if it needs to be. It spins up and down based on population of that area. I asked about the AI Eclipse shield bug earlier. Is there any CIG answer to the massive shields that now encase the tiny shield? Oh yeah, the giant shields. That's a graphical / shield bug thing. It was hilarious to see these huge sort of weird shields when you're firing at an Eclipse. I expect that to be. I would expect it to be fixed in 3.12, the latest PTU update for it. That's just got to be a number done incorrectly that's caused that weird glitch. Do you think there's a difference between saying you will do server meshing and actually coding server meshing to work to the scale we are expecting? Surely talk is just talk. Well, I mean, it's not done yet, is it? So there is obviously a difference saying that they plan to have this and actually having it, yes. Because if just saying having it would have it, then we'd have it by now. So yeah. I mean, we can talk about their plans and what I do think they'll genuinely be able to obtain at least some semblance of their plan. Could there be a little bit more going on there? Could there be issues with that? Yeah, of course there could. And we'll cover that when we know more. Shane Morris, thank you very much for the money. Toby Eye Tracker reminds me too much of Star Trek The Next Generation, Episode 5, Season 5, Episode 6. Oh, I don't know what that means. I mean, I love The Next Generation, but I do not know season and episodes. But I do love a bit of The Next Generation. And I'm quite excited by Toby Eye Tracker. I mean, I'm going to mess around with it. Tell you what I think. The channel also has a graphical bug where a blinding blue and white light appears. Oh, that happens. That happens with like my helmet occasionally. Shines out the eyes of my helmet. I'm not a dev for Star Citizen, but I am a content creator that covers Star Citizen as my primary job for the last 4 or 5 years. And I'm friends with a lot of the devs. Any advice on transitioning from normal dev to game dev? Talk to people in the industry. I don't know if there's actually that much difference, to be honest. Because, I mean, a project's a project, right? And then every company you're going to work for is a different project anyway. So I think game dev is a bit harder with the crunch, but I suppose it's dependent on what you were deving for previously anyway. Go chat to some of the devs on Twitter. You can find all the Star Citizen devs there. I suspect they are willing to talk. What tech is holding back Crusader? Them finishing building out Crusader, Horizon, and Gas Cloud tech, which is planned for Q1 and Q2 2021. Split release for that. I don't hear anyone talking about the refueling of hydrogen fuel. Am I late to the party? It was awesome to have my 890 refuel just cruising around in the dust clouds. What do you mean you don't hear about it anymore? A lot of the hydrogen fuel stuff has been addressed, like the microstarine and things like that. How's it going? I'm doing alright, thanks very much. Aquila or Corsair, depends what you want. I'd probably be more inclined to get the Corsair because I like the Corsair. First, I want to thank you for your great content you've been releasing on YouTube. I've been watching your releases for a little while. My question is, are you going to be releasing the audio versions on other streams like Spotify? I release it, and I haven't done it actually for the last week, because or maybe 2 weeks, because I've been ill and forgot. I do release my videos as podcasts on SoundCloud and some on the Apple podcasty stuff as well. It just automates up to it. So I will update that probably tomorrow. If you go on my website, I think you can find that, and I think there's probably links below my videos as well. Shane Morris, it's called The Game, with a game that syncs with your eyes and then slowly brainwashes you. Oh. I need to rewatch The Next Generation. Zin rewatched it the other month. I think she's watching... Is she rewatching Voyager now? I think she is. I think she's rewatching Voyager at the moment. But she rewatched The Next Generation the other month. I need to do the same. A number of times I've seen other players in game chat urging others to delete the user file, but no explanation why. Could you say what this would accomplish? So specifically, it's not the user folder necessarily that you want to delete. It's the shader folder in the user folder, because Star Citizen should, after a major patch, rebuild the full shader folder, so that you have a much less buggy experience. Because if you're using the old shaders, then it might not have updated the shaders properly, and you might get lots of graphical glitches and bugs and crashes. That's the reason. Clears out a load of data, basically, that does need to be rebuilt, but it might not necessarily rebuild unless you delete it. You see what I mean? Any word on the Corsair? Nope. No new word on it yet. Nautilus or Perseus or both? I think I prefer the Perseus. I really like the Perseus. It's one of my favourite ships. But obviously, the Nautilus is going to be really useful. It's a cool, large-scale minesweeper, mine layer, mine repurposer ship. Experiencing bugs with bounties, buying cargo, outposts, and global chat. Yes, for selling cargo, 100%. And selling things, I was experiencing lots of bugs. With bounties in general, no, I've done a huge amount of bounties without any issue. Are the surrender mechanics already out? No, they are not. Surrender mechanics are not yet in properly. When are the new shields coming out? Expect them early to mid next year for the Sign Distance Field Shield tech. They were sort of experimenting with some of that with the Idris. So Why'd you like to get analysed by Chris Roberts? I don't. He's just having a little look over my shoulder. Why'd you have to make it sexy? There is a chair behind me as well. Chill. Mwah. What else? What else have we got? People control, it's all good. I don't mind. I'm pretty chill. And a lot of times when people are trolling, maybe they're not trolling, they're just grumpy about something. You don't have to be, it's okay, you're not alone. You can be sad that some people are going to be lonely this Christmas. It's all good. A lot of people are grumpy in the UK because they're not allowed to have a proper Christmas anymore. They're like, no Christmas for you. I'm more upset about not being able to do a New Year, personally. But that's because I'm looking after my parents anyway, so I have to now cook for my whole family rather than just my parents, which is a lot more effort. I'm sorry about the... I forgot that the Back for Blood overlay was on. Bear with me. Let me turn that off. I thought it would automatically turn itself off, but I'm not the greatest streamer or YouTuber in the world. Let's put that up there. I know a lot of you are like, Bored, you're so good. You're so good at the stream. How do I even deal with this? Extensions? My extensions? Deactivate? There we go. That's probably good. That's probably fixed it. Maybe question mark. How to convince non-believers that Star Citizen project is in good shape. They won't listen to facts or evidence. Well, they don't need to. Look, okay. People don't like the idea of Star Citizen. There's too many red flags for them. That's fine. They're entitled to that opinion. They might just be waiting for the game to be more of a state of a game. It is alpha, and it's very playable and fun if you go looking for the fun. But some people don't want that. Some people want a developed, sit down and play game. Or want to play Apex Legends or something that is refined. And Star Citizen just isn't there yet. And, yeah, if you found the right org and you had the... Yeah, actually, I want to go and look at this game, and I think it's going to be cool, and I'll find an org and everything. Yeah, you can find a load of fun, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours each patch cycle. But some people don't want that, and that's fine. You don't need to defend it, and you don't need to prove anything to anyone when it comes to Star Citizen. Just show them where it is, and occasionally go, oh, there's some new cool stuff. But beyond that, I wouldn't ever try and get someone to overly poke them to play Star Citizen. Blink twice if you've already have the Toby eye tracker and aliens are taking over your minds as you speak. No, I have not got the Toby eye tracker yet. Soon. Might see it this side of Christmas. I don't know. I would start to think that we'd get more of the Polaris starting from the middle of next year. That's when I expect to see updates on the Polaris. That's what I'm hoping. Man Solo, hi Bored. Any update or news on the Redeemer's progress? So we've seen some of the white box on the Redeemer. The Redeemer is getting white boxy stuff. They are working on it, actively in development now. I'm expecting to see it Q2 2021. So hopefully C2. I'm hoping to see Q1 2021. What year did Chris Roberts say this game is 50% done? It might have been like 2014, 2015. I mean, they rescaled the game hugely. They went many magnitudes above and changed it all. He blinked twice. Nice. We have seen we've seen missile turrets on the Idris and Polaris. What do you feel about being able to change out guns for missile turrets? Like rocket pods, yeah. I mean, different hardpoints for different things is what I'm going to say. So, I don't want all hardpoints to be able to be used for all items and all weapons. But I'm okay with some being missile turrets and some being rocket turrets and all this sort of stuff. Do they say when Homesteads will be out? So Homesteads, the new points of interest, are in active development. Although that's, I say active development, it's the more R&D and prototyping phase, but they're actively working on them. I've been following the project for years without backing. We'll back once I see server meshing and iCache working. I think that's very reasonable as a thing to do. You go, when I know the game's actually going to work, I think I'll back it. That seems reasonable. I think a lot of people have been burnt by some of the slights they see from Cyberpunk, even though I don't think... Okay, so, yeah. Cyberpunk, I think, should have been in development for another 3 months and should have never have been sold on last-gen consoles. Those are the two things I think. Is the Talon Shrike's inability to fire all its missiles being addressed? It should be addressed at some point. Obviously, you can only fire 2 missiles at a time with it, because it's only got 2 missile hardpoints. You see what I mean? You're not buying a game, you're funding a project and helping test it. That's true, but there will be a stage where you are actually buying a game. So a lot of people, I think, would feel a lot better buying the game at that stage. Do you see what I mean? A lot of people don't want to fund the development of a game. They don't want development as a service. That's fair enough. They want a game. Buy it when it's a game. Buy it when it's sold as a game, and you can get refunds if it's not the game you wanted. That's fair. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable hot to take. What do you think of physicalized components in the Talon, and how do you think having to manage those components physically will pan out? Well, I mean, the Talon is going to be very paper thin once its shields breaks. So, I think physicalized components stuff's going to be great. It's more for the damage of those components. But I mean, there's going to be some component management. Smaller ships are going to be easy to manage for the most part. Although you are going to be doing some shield hardening and making sure your shields are powerful on one side and all that sort of jazz. When is the bored potato head kit going to be in merch store? We'll probably get some silly merch done next year. I'll make sure we get a Christmas jumper done for next year as well. Oh, we could do a Star Citizen themed cookbook. I need to contact CIG to make sure they're okay with me doing that, though. They probably... I'm not sure how litigious they're going to be about their IP. I could certainly do Star Citizen food videos. I could certainly have recipes free on the website. I wouldn't be able to sell my own product. Cyberpunk runs perfectly on my machine. People should stop trying to play a next-gen game on previous-gen hardware. 100%. But Cloud... But CD Projekt Red / Sony, whoever, they should not have ever sold it on last-gen hardware either. Yeah? I mean, people thought it was going to run in not have been the greatest, but they thought it was going to be significantly better than it was. And it was super trash on those previous-gen hardware, yeah? Super trash, I think, is a fair term. It was not appropriate for them to sell it in the first place. It is No Man's Sky level of bullshittery, in my opinion. But for me, Cyberpunk's been a genuinely great game. I've had very few issues and bugs with it. I mean, there are bugs, and there's... I found that tranquilizer weapons insta-kill anything, including bosses, in a single shot. So after using them very briefly, I went, well, I won't use these then. These are broken. But I've had great fun with Cyberpunk. I've got like 50 hours in. Just completed my first playthrough. Planning on playing again, doing an entire stealth build this time. Stealth and probably pistols. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I thought it was absolutely great. Didn't do all... I did some side missions. Yeah, shouldn't have been released on the PS4 and on the Xbox One. But definitely not the PS4. It's just... Yeah, it's unfortunate. And the game could never possibly live up to its hype. Star Citizen can't possibly live up to its hype either. Let's be realistic. It's so hyped. But it doesn't need to live up to its hype to be a good game still. Let's put that in perspective as well. Like, everyone's going to have a different view on Star Citizen with their own hype and fantasy about it. And it can't live up to everyone's. And it can't live up to the monumental levels of hype in the same way that Cyberpunk can't. But it can still be a good game. Yeah? I think that's fair. It was straight up sold to last gen console users. Yeah, I know. That's the problem I had with it. It was just, and they said it worked surprisingly well. Now, I would actually argue that it probably did work surprisingly well. The fact it was able to work at all. Half-Life 3. So, are we considering Half-Life Alyx being Half-Life 3 or 2.5? So the thing with Valve is they don't need to make games if they don't want to. They can just be a research studio now. They've got all the money in the world they need from Steam. I love Valve. I think Half-Life Alyx is amazing. I have heard that they've got 2 other projects that they're working on at the moment, which will be with us within a year. But I have to wait and see. Half-Life Alyx was an amazing game. Genuinely amazing. Best game of 2020, in my opinion. Any ideas when we'll get co-pilots and working engineer consoles? Stuff that they're working on at the moment. Co-pilots as part of missions will be a thing at some point as well. Wingman, in fact. You're talking about actual co-pilot stations working. They're working on deeper multi-crew gameplay. They're working on the resource system. They're working on permission systems. So I think all of that stuff is coming next year. Previous physicalized components question, I meant the logistics of actually buying them and then physically transporting them and installing them. So some components are going to be literally switch out by hand. Some you're going to need a multi-tool. Some you're going to need specialist facilities. And there's going to be sub-components as well. Yeah, Half-Life Alyx was amazing. Genuinely. Boneworks and Half-Life Alyx, best games of 2020. Yeah? But you need VR to be able to experience them properly, so... Yeah, so that's the thing. No Man's Sky released with a terrible launch. Yeah, it was there were demonstrable lies about that. They said there was going to be multiplayer. There was not multiplayer at launch. There was a lot of stuff going on like that. The game was not it was not finished. They didn't have time to finish it in the way they wanted, and it just it was disappointing and crap, in my opinion. But they did then sit down and work on their game, and now No Man's Sky is in a great place. It's a genuinely great game, No Man's Sky, now. And if they'd released it in this state previously, then I think people would be like, oh, amazing game, great game. Do you know what I mean? So I do think they'll be able to salvage Cyberpunk, but obviously it's going to damage their reputation. What else, except iCache, do CIG need to get physical components into the game? It's mostly iCache. And then physically having all of the ships set up for the physical components, and then building the physical components out, which are probably actually all built out already. But it's mainly iCache. Right. Let's power through some last of the questions. Then I'll wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Do people want me streaming on Christmas? It would probably be Boxing Day, actually. I'll probably do a Boxing Day stream, because I'm cooking for my family, and I don't want to have to go, oh shit. Haran Hamato, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated, sir. And thank you very much for loads of people giving me a load of random money and super chats. That really does help. Sort of the Rona has knocked around with the amount of money that I earn on YouTube. But it's been pretty good because of the amount of support we've had from people becoming YouTube members and donating and becoming Patreons and stuff like that. That's helped so much. And there's people like Sarge that have given me huge amounts of money, so many people that have donated vast amounts of wealth, Robert Johnston and people like that. So genuinely thank you to everyone, whether you're asking a question, whether you're a sub, whether you're a YouTube member, whatever. It all genuinely helps. Even just commenting on videos, sharing them, whatever. 2020 saw tons of progress in the PU. Yeah, it saw a good amount. We didn't see as much as I wanted, but it didn't see none at all. Hanathcom, thank you very much for the sub. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas as well! Are we expecting more through 2021? Yeah, so I'm expecting a lot more progress in 2021. I mean, iCache and stuff, as they said, opened the floodgates to a lot of content. And they've got a new studio as well. So they've got a new studio, literally, headed by Turbulent. The main role of that studio is to grow to over 100 people over 3 years, but it is to make planets and star systems as one of its major focuses for Star Citizen. So that's good, because that means they can actually flesh out their universe and game when they want to have it launched. Oh, thank you very much for people pressing that join button on the YouTubes. Evil Tactics, thank you very much for going aboard Gamer. And it's Schizo. Oh wow, I mean that's an offensive name, or maybe it's not. It's fine. I'm sure it's not worded. Oh dear. Thanks for the joins, the subs. Appreciate it. A wild type. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. That's a load of money. I like money. Merry Christmas, sir, or madam, or a wild type. Merry Christmas. I've got probably $1,300 into Star Citizen. Love it, and can't wait for Squadron 42 and Star Citizen launch. Yeah, so you're going to see Squadron 42 launch well before, obviously, Star Citizen does. And I'm hoping that we get it within the year. Squadron 42. We've been waiting for Squadron 42 for 5 years now. Come on, CIG. So bored, do you think they will ever fix Cyberpunk? Yeah. Oh, 100%. They've got the tools to do it. Cyberpunk can be fixed. It can be saved. It's just you can't ever have that launch again. But I mean, they fixed No Man's Sky. Hello Games fixed No Man's Sky. Genuinely did. Took time. Ramos, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all these people becoming bored citizens and bored gamers, and thank you. Very much appreciated. I appreciate the hustle. Wouldn't it be better to implement the medgun gameplay into another attachment for the multi-tool? So maybe you'll have a smaller scale medgun multi-tool, but the medgun might be a medical multi-tool for lots more than just one green goo. Yeah? So wouldn't it be better? I don't know yet. Until it's in our hands, I don't know. There might be some remit to it being not the same thing. Also, the idea of having a multi-tool for welding a ship, but also healing me, I'm not sure if it makes me feel good. How will the Retaliator base with modules compare with other multi-role ships? So the Retaliator base is just empty, isn't it? Does it technically have the cargo modules in the Retaliator base, or does it just not have? I suppose it doesn't have anything there, does it? It's just a medium ship with multiple turrets on it. But the Retaliator is going to be getting its modules and modular gameplay. I believe it's starting to get work early 2021, so hopefully we'll see that in the game soon. I'm looking forward to modularity. Oh, whoa! I was having problems with equipment slot 4 with it glitching in your hand, but now it's not working. Have you experienced this? Have you heard anything about it? So typically, when you change your undersuit and then change it back, that can fix your utility slot being broken. There's lots of little tiny workarounds I use for Star Citizen so that I don't experience these major problems that some people do. What's your favourite fictional snack? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm too much into the real world of food. I need to taste the snack as well. If it's fictional, is there any news on Crusader landing zone? So Horizon, is the name of the landings in there. Horizon and Crusader are coming Q1, Q2 2021 as a split release. So you'll see some of it in Q1 2021. Evil Tactics, thank you very much. Have you subbed like twice or something? What? I don't... are you subbing everywhere? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Do you think we have reached a limit on what can be added to Star Citizen before we're given iCache and or server meshing? Not necessarily. I mean, to some extent, yes. There's a lot of gameplay that is barred really or bottlenecked by the lack of iCache and server meshing. Mainly because they're building all this stuff with those things in mind and they sort of need it at the same time. I think beyond Horizon and Crusader, they can basically fill out one star system without server meshing. But obviously they can't have any more star systems. And they can't really have too much going on without iCache. So there's certainly issues there. And we've obviously got terrible servers as well. Like there's issues with the servers. There's loads of problems with the AI being derpy as hell, animations being janky, and I mean doing PvP is hellish at the moment. So, what do you think of the Corsair? I think it's a cool, no frills exploration ship. It's going to be pretty cool. $60 green macrons. I don't know what that means, Remos. Was it you sub? I love you. I love you for subbing, Remos. I love you. Yeah. Okay, favorite real life snack. Ramen's pretty good. Good steak is pretty good. Like a good grain-fed ribeye. Oh, can't go wrong with that. I love my food. And I used to be a head chef. And run restaurants. So I love my food. Do you think Star Citizen will ever actually be the greatest game ever made? Or, I mean, I think it's going to be genuinely an amazing game. I think for some people it will be the greatest game ever made. But, I mean, if you like racing games and not space games, maybe it's not going to be the greatest game for you. I mean, for me, I think it will probably be hopefully the greatest game ever made. That's what I'm hoping on. Do I think it's going to live up to its hype? Well, it can still be the greatest game ever made and not live up to its hype because it's been so overhyped to several magnitudes. I think at the very least it's going to be a very, very, very good game. There's a lot going on with Star Citizen, and you're not going to love all of the gameplay loops, are you? But you just need to like enough of them. Saying a lot of systems in this game depend on iCache and server meshing is sending this game up to fail. Well, it's true. I mean, it does depend on them. There's a huge amount of content. It being an MMO is dependent on those systems coming online. Now, if they couldn't come online in the way they wanted, they would do the next best option, or they'd work something out. But at the moment, that's the plan. It's not hedging bets on server meshing and iCache. It's they're building the game with that in mind. Like, they're building the game with all the gameplay loops in mind as well, and hoping that they can get salvage right and all this sort of stuff. So I don't think it's too sort of like, oh my god, what if they can't do it? Well, they can't do that, then they'll do the next best option. It's development of a game. Like, they don't go, we know we can do all of this in exactly the way we want to do it. That's why we see so much in the way of delays and evolutions and changes to gameplay loops and stuff getting pushed back and new stuff coming in and them not knowing exactly how a gameplay loop's going to play and them evolve it. You see that with like mining and refining even. So I don't think that's necessarily an issue. I mean, it's something you can be concerned about, surely. I mean, that's fine. But I wouldn't say, oh my god, what if they can't do that? Well, they'll find the next best option, or they'll work on it until they can get it done. Green macaroons? What's it, macron? Macrons? Macaroons? Are they the coconutty, biscuity things? I love you too. Disney is selling macaroons for the Mandalorian for $60. What? I should start selling BoredGamer confectionery. So to ask this again, I had to step away. Do you know when the new Shield tech is going to be in game? So they've been working on it. We've seen it with the Idris being worked on. They talked about it recently, and they said, look, we're building this new Shield tech out. We're prototyping exactly how we want it to look now. Does it change colour? Are they going to have certain effects on it? So I'd expect to see it very soon. Probably Q2 2021 is where I'd expect to see it. We're starting to see capital ships in game now. So 3.12 has seen the addition of the Idris. And maybe we'll see some more capital ships before the end of the patch cycle. If the next best thing isn't good enough, then that's an issue. Well, I mean, develop and iterate on it. But we'll have to keep up to date with it and see what happens. Is it potentially a concern? Yes. And that's why CIG need to be communicative and transparent with all of this. But I mean, I haven't seen any indication that they can't do it. Once the game is finally released, how do you foresee CIG monetizing it in order to support the game overall? So I talked to Aaron about this actually on 2018, and quite some depth, and I will ask him again when I next speak to him in an interview type setting. So we know that they're going to be selling game packages for the game, and they're going to be selling the in-game currency, and then obviously there'll be voluntary subscriptions like there is now, and merchandise and stuff like that. So that's the main ways they wanted to do it. They would, however, consider other ways of monetizing if necessary. I still think they're going to sell ships, personally. So we'll have to wait and see. But server meshing to have more people on the same server. So server meshing means there's multiple servers seamlessly sharing data between each other that can be all nested in each other. Do you think Amazon has a hand on Star Citizen partnership trading tech with Amazon Games? There's something going on with them, but I'm not sure exactly what. Obviously, they are using Lumberyard Star Citizen, and I would expect them to be partnered with Amazon in some way beyond just using their Amazon Web Services for servers. Right, I'm going to dash off because I've been streaming for a long time, at least long for me, and I've been pretty ill, so I do want to go and have a nap. At what patch did we switch from CryEngine to Lumberyard? Was it 3.0? When did Star Citizen switch Lumberyard? December 23rd, 2016. That's when it officially switched over. Crytek did not eject, apparently. That's what they did. I promise you. Right. I hope everyone here has a great Christmas. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and chucking money at me and asking questions and watching the channel. There is going to obviously be a load more content coming out throughout this week. I'll try and get something up for Christmas Day as well, even if it's just a little Christmas message. Love you loads. Genuinely happy that you enjoy the content or participate in the content. Maybe you don't enjoy it, but maybe you like having a good grumpy anger chat in the live streams or on the videos. If you've got any suggestions for content, you can get me at richard@boredgamer.co.uk, or you can comment on my videos, because I typically will look through a load of the comments, especially questions. You can get me on my Discord, discord.gg/boredgamer. But yeah, if you are suffering from being lonely or depressed, whatever, make sure you reach out to other people through this Christmas and this holiday season and this lockdown weird era that we are in. Also, if you're doing really well, just reach out to other people and check to make sure they're cool. Thank you so much for watching. Love you loads, guys. You take care. Loads more content to come soon, and looking forward to those dynamic missions and cool things coming